Good morning. I am so excited. If this is your first time or your 10th, you know that this is by far my favorite time of year. I absolutely love this. I'm going to give everyone a couple of seconds just to like get settled in. I'm letting everyone in the weight room, and then we'll get started. Okay, I think we've got everybody. Just want to double check. I will be sharing my screen in just a minute. Okay, I think I got everybody. All right, awesome. All right, here we go. So, let me go ahead and present this. I want to welcome you. Ignite your inner fire. I came up with this because I truly believe that's exactly what happens on these retreats. My favorite time of year is fall foliage. This year, we will be heading out to Tennessee on Wednesday, October 21st evening. That's not when the actual retreat starts, and I'll be giving you more information about that through Sunday, October 25th. All right, so let's get started. Many of you may be wondering, okay, why camping? Where did this all, come about? And it really starts when I was a young girl. My dad was a Marine, and I'm pretty sure he wanted boys because everything had to do with outdoors and camping and camo type of stuff, like all kinds of, that kind of things. And so I probably started camping when I was around 6 months old. And since then, I've been all over the place. It started, like I mentioned, with my family, with my parents. I didn't even realize back then that the reason we went camping so much was because they couldn't afford hotels. And so it became this huge family adventure. My three siblings, if you ask us whether we want to go to a hotel versus camping in our tent, all of us will always say, no, we want to go in a tent. So at the flip side, my husband always says, you either put Fran in a Ritz-Carlton or in her tent. She doesn't do the in between. And that's actually kind of true. I mean, maybe. I truly do enjoy camping. Since my dad has passed away, I've been all over the country, especially in the last few years. My daughter and I, who's front and center in this picture, have really taken up the love of not just camping, but backcountry camping, which is not what we're going to do. Backcountry camping is when you pack everything in a backpack and that's all you have for several days. That's not at all what we're going to be doing. And I'll explain a little more about the logistics. But for me, camping is such a special place, such a special way to connect with others. These moments around the campfire that just literally spark. I am so grateful that my daughter caught the bug. We've camped in so many locations, like I mentioned, around the country. I would probably say my top favorites was the Lost Coast in California. It was a little bit of a challenge as well as a beautiful place. And what I mean by challenge is I love a good challenge. We were asked to backpack for about 3 to 4 days. Again, everything from food to cooking materials to tent, everything had to fit in our backpack. Actually, I don't know. The bottom right corner picture was when we were on our last night. And you walk for 24 miles along the coast in California. Here's the catch. The reason I quickly found out, it's called the Lost Coast, is because every few miles, there's about three or four sections where when the tide comes in, it covers the entire ground. Okay. Um, and I didn't realize, I don't know, I guess in my mind, it was going to be like from here to maybe a block. So, like, okay, not a big deal. I soon or quickly found out there's a reason why there's an entire process to, get a permit and training and all this. It's because those unpassable areas could last a full mile. Okay, not something you want to get caught into when the tide rises, right? So, definitely became a challenge, but a challenge we had so much fun. And clearly, as you can see our faces in the bottom right hand corner, we are ecstatic when it actually was, we got to the end. I tell you this because I want to share with you, I have a lot of experience over, I'm 50, how old am I? 53 years old, 53 years of experience in camping. You will not be doing any of that. We are camping. But we are, the glamping part plays a huge role, probably the biggest role in everything that we do. I also went to last year. We went to oh my gosh, we went to Lake Tahoe. Absolutely gorgeous. I already have plans to go to Glacier National Park later this year, and I mentioned that because there are two or three main things that always drive me for camping, and one of them is, as I will share with you, is the nature, the fall foliage. Obviously, this is why I really focus a lot on the fall foliage in my marketing with the camping retreats. Another one is water. I know that sounds weird, but something about water, a river, a waterfall, a lake, something that just resets our minds, our bodies. You physically feel the shift. And then camping, something happens around that campfire. Exactly like I said, there's something about a campfire under the stars that make women open up in ways that they never do at home. It's the laughter, the tears, the honesty, right? That deep connection. It all comes out every single time. Now, I've only been running these women retreats probably, I think this is our fourth, fifth year. So it hasn't, but I've been doing this with girlfriends since as long as I could remember, as long as I've been independent. I remember being in a sorority and I'm like, you guys, you know what would be a great idea? Let's all go camping. And they all looked at me like if I had three heads, but I lit one by one convinced them. And I do it at least once a year. It's one of my favorite things to do. Probably because when I was young, I always wanted to go away and sleepaway camp, and I come from a Latin family, so that was not an option. You sleepaway camp, sure, you can go in the backyard, but you cannot go away. And so I also felt that in this season of my life, as I got older, as my kids became more and more independent, we spend years showing up for everyone around us, our spouses, our kids, our family, our friends, our careers, and we forget to pour back into ourselves. And for me, the older I got, the more I went back to, I want a sleepaway camp. I want to just sit around a campfire with girlfriends and just be. I want to have fun. I want to laugh. I want to try new things. I don't want to worry about, what time's dinner and making sure, I have to turn something in or my to-do list. I want to just be me. And so, if I'm being honest, I was looking for that for myself. Like maybe somebody hosts these really nice camping retreats. But here's the thing, you will notice if you've ever looked for a camping retreat, and there's nothing to knock any of the retreats. I love that women around the world of all types run these retreats, but a lot of them is more of a roughing it, or let's I don't want to call them tree hugging, but let's just say, showers are optional. It's, deodorant is optional. Okay, that could not be further than what we do in these camping retreats. We are trying new things, but there is a huge level of pampering and glamping. There is this magic also that just it doesn't matter what group I'm with. There's a magic that combines the beautiful nature, the bright starry nights, the campfires. I am convinced there is a special force that brings out something in you. The conversations get deeper around that fire. And notice I talk a lot about the campfire, but you really truly can't help but connect through those tears. And let me tell you something, my brother always says that camping is an exercise of your ability to pivot, because something always, somebody forgets something, oh my gosh, the fire's not starting, and that's where we cook. Or like there's always something, your ability to adapt. Now that's for me. It will not be anything you have to worry about, but that's something for me. But I actually love that because um there's not a many options, very many opportunities, I should say, where you get to practice being challenged like that, and that on a personal level is something that I truly enjoy. When you disconnect, you're able to also quiet that constant chatter. And I know you know what I'm talking about. We wake up, us as women wake up, and it doesn't matter whether our kids are no longer at home. And we immediately go through like, okay, what do I have to do today? Do I have to get to work? Is there some a project I need to do at work? What's going on at home? Um, Even if we spend plenty of time as an empty nester on the couch watching TV, there is constant chatter going on in our minds. And there's something that happens with a newfound clarity when you go camping. And it's so fun because I love to watch women when they, especially if this is the first time they've gone camping, because what always happens, I've mentioned pampering several times. It always happens, we as women, we want to serve. And so, women are like, okay, how can I help? Can I do this? Nope, just go sit and just be. Okay, but like I see you working. Let me no, you this retreat is for you. Let me do this for you. And women don't know what to do with that. It takes a hot minute to have, in that silence, to silence your brain and just be. And I love that challenge for you. That's my challenge for you. I get to figure out how to adapt when things may or may not go exactly the way as planned. But that's not your challenge. Your challenge is to just be and quiet your mind and find that new found clarity. We go through some exercises, and I don't mean physical exercises, some mental exercises that I pose these reflective type questions on purpose that they may or may not have already popped for you. You've probably may even have even thought of some of these questions. However, you've never given yourself the time and the space to go through it, to fully dive deep into reflecting. Many of you may or may not journal or spend some time in prayer or, just, reflection. And this is the time where it's not just 15 minutes or 30 minutes. You get 3 whole days. And for those of you that are religious, you truly open up the space for God's whispers. I truly believe that's part of that magic around the campfire. All right. So more in the nitty gritty, what exactly should you expect on this retreat? So the roughing part ends with tents, and I provide the tents. I provide, by the way, all you need to bring is your toothbrush and your clothes. I provide everything else, everything. Yes, you're sleeping in a tent. I also provide cots, but that's it. Everything else is glamping. There is obviously no, there is a private chef. We are preparing gourmet meals. Yes, gourmet meals. We go all out. We are huge foodies. And so we find really creative ways not only to make our recipes, but I literally fly with my favorite cuts of meats. And I don't mean just burgers. They are gourmet burgers. They are gourmet steaks and sides. I fly with my meat from my favorite butcher from Miami. So when I tell you it's gourmet, it's gourmet. We will provide obviously comfortable tents and cots, as I mentioned, hot showers. There's obviously, bathroom facilities. Every gear, all the gear and camping equipment that you need will be provided. Transportation will be handled by me from start to finish. I also will be hosting guided hikes. Nothing major. We're not rock climbing or anything like that. Although we had a really funny experience last year, which I'll share with you later. We will always start our mornings with like morning movement. Um, Again, completely optional. And then we have these campfire reflective sessions that we start several times throughout the day. It is only for 8 women. And part of the reason, there's two main reasons. One is because, like I mentioned, that campfire intimacy is everything. Also, logistically, I want to make sure that I am able to provide that pampering experience while you're camping. So it's truly intentional. Okay, so here's a rough look of what the arrival looks like, or the itinerary, I should say. Wednesday is optional. It's highly recommended, but it is optional. Wednesday evening is when everybody lands. We may or may not, depending on when you arrive, we can have dinner together, but it's purely optional. We all arrive in Nashville, and many of us stay at the Hampton Inn, close to the Nashville airport. And then Thursday morning we leave first thing, which is why I always recommend everyone to come in Wednesday evening. First thing in the morning, we do a pre-camp meet. If we didn't do it the night before, we all get into the van that I'll be driving. Once we arrive in the campground, which by the way, this is a picture of what the fall foliage looks like in our campground where we're going this year. There will be setup, lunch, and first impressions. Friday, we do a morning movement, either yoga or some sort of movement, and gratitude. We go through some really fun camping skills like a dynamic activity. And then we do dinner reflections. And then Saturday morning, repeat again in terms of morning movement and gratitude. But then we do a little bit of a hike. We do a little bit of survival skills activity, little things that I teach you along the way. Um, More reflections and dinner at the end of the day. And then Sunday, we leave first thing in the morning, breakfast and cleanup, and then transportation back to the airport. I do recommend that when you purchase your flights, if you need to fly, the departures are no earlier than 2 p.m. That's a huge one because it gives us time to not just pick up, but actually get to the airport, return the car rental, and whatnot. All right, so back to the actual main part, the main question that I received from everybody. Um, we will be opening up, kicking off early bird tomorrow, $500 off. It does end May 1st. I do need time to make sure that, who's going. And plus, later on, you'll find out about the goodies and the logistics and whatnot. All of this, the actual price will include, like I mentioned, the private chef, gourmet meals, camping gear and equipment, tent with a cot option, hot showers and facilities, the actual campground as well, transportation, guided hike, the activities, our morning movement sessions, our retreat goodies, like I mentioned, and surprises that I love to surprise with. And so your investment with the $500 off would be $15.99. That is the early bird. Or if you want to do 4 installments of $550, that's also an option. All payments are non-refundable, and for the reason for that is because once I close it, and it closes rather quickly, once I close it and you've taken up a spot, I already start logistics. I already start personalizing certain things, and so I want to make sure that everybody is in there, is set, and it's personalized, and that you're pampered for a weekend. All right, so any questions at all? I'm going to start opening up the chat. Okay, so yes, like I mentioned, there are going to be bathroom facilities. You will not be doing the roughing parts like I've done in the past. So do not worry about that. Um, so yes, it is optional to stay Wednesday night. Yes, you can work a full day on Wednesday. As a matter of fact, most of my retreats, that's exactly what they do. They work a full day and then they head out in the late afternoon or early evening. So that's totally an option. Yes. So once you are ready to sign up, all you need to do is either DM me, depending on where it could be Instagram. Maybe you already have my personal number. You've gotten at least one or two or three forms of contacting me. So you just need to let me know, okay, I'm interested, and I will send you the registration link. And the reason for that is I don't want to send out too many registration links. I do close it at 8 people. So that's the reason for that. So yes, okay. So you can text me, DM me, email me through, Facebook, Instagram, whatever's easiest form. And I will be happy to reach out. And then of course, I know what happens at the end of these information sessions. We come up with like, oh my gosh, I forgot to ask. So I am here for any questions. And most importantly, I'm so, so excited that you're here. I hope this was a helpful session, and I hope to see you around the campfire. Have a beautiful Saturday.